Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inferno Cast, episode 040. I am Inferno Fox, host of this podcast and of YouTube's Inferno Fox gaming channel. You can find the Inferno Cast here on YouTube, as well as on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. And today joining us is our fantastic cast and crew. We have Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel Jason the 13th. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem. I totally forgot the date and almost missed today.
Oh my gosh.
Called it.
Yeah, I totally forgot today was Tuesday.
Oh my gosh. Well, when you're so busy with work and stuff, sometimes the
hmm
days just like drag or fly. I mean, take your
You
pick.
guys called me the
Yep.
level 5 grandpa in the title.
Yeah, I think we need to give Jason
Uh-oh.
the 13th that title. Maybe Grandpa level 4. There we go.
I don't know how many Tuesdays has he forgotten it was so far.
I
You
think
guys
that's
start
true.
keeping a Tuesday forgot tally.
Yeah.
Along with my mute tally, which I'll go back on.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, we have Stormrosesky of the Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I remembered to unmute myself just then.
Gold star.
Yes. We also have Jamie Owls, my partner and partner in crime. Jamie Owls, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And in all honesty, I thought today was Wednesday.
Oh my gosh.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Ugh, don't push us a day later because then on Friday we're going to think it's Saturday.
So
Yeah, really.
I get to relive Wednesday all over again tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day, except worse.
Except it's Wednesdays.
Ugh. And last but not least, we have Simbu Darkfang. He is an actor with the Basement of the Dead, but he is also the one of the hosts of the Scurryface Wrestling Federation show, and he is the host on Sunday nights and now also on Wednesday nights on Twitch. We're going to have a link for this in the description below. If you're listening to this on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, it will of course be in the description there. But otherwise, if you YouTube, you just check the description below. Simbu, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about the SWFS
All right. So the
or
Scurry Face
SFWF? I'm sorry.
SFWF, the Scurry Face Wrestling Federation. It is a created league featuring the Scurry Face Haunt Reps, 66 of us in total, where we battle it out inside the Scurryverse for custom titles. And we had a roster split. So there are so many people this time around, we had to split the roster into two separate shows. On Wednesday nights, tomorrow night, if you're catching this the day of, or tonight, if you're catching just the day after release, is Weird and Wild Wednesdays. That is one of the shows that you can catch that live on Twitch at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then Sundays are the Simbu's Sinister Sunday show. That is also at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, same damn time, same damn channel, which I hope we don't get demonetized. I think I made it in well over a minute for that one.
Yeah, you hit the minute mark.
Which that's not even really a bad word. I mean, as we're talking wrestling, that's pretty much a wrestling line right there. But anyways, yeah, there's also some other shows on the Scurry Face official channel that I do want to shout out. That would be Monday Night NHL Hockey with Tyler. Tyler is the owner of Scurry Face, and he streams every Monday night at between 7 and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This Saturday, the return of the Scurry Show at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Scurry Show is the flagship show for our Twitch channel. It's been on hiatus for quite some time. That features Tyler, his wife Shannon, and their best friend Social D. And they come on and they talk about anything and everything. We play some fun little games like Make You Feel Old, Storm, you might want to tune in for that if we have that this time. Old movie clips, and you have to guess the name of the movie.
Oh, nice.
And football, sports, whatever, sports ball, yay, I kind of tune out on that. But the Scurry Show, we don't know what's going to happen, but we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, and you definitely want to make sure you check this out because even just on last Sunday's show that Simbu had hosted, we had over 100 plus viewers live, and it was a really good bunch watching a lot of these matches and everything. It is definitely a lot of fun. I can't recommend it enough. So make sure again you check out Tyler's channel and everything that's on Scurryface, and especially Simbu's hosting duties on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Again, links are in the description below. But tonight we're going to be talking about something fun with video games with sort of a smaller number of us. We have Astrimedes, who is continuing to tour the country with his lovely wife. So Astrimedes, if you're driving, you hear this, the crew here says hey and hello. And then of course our other cast member Hardicus couldn't make it today because he is entertaining his better half. So again, Hardicus, if you catch this, we say hey to you as well. But tonight it's another one featuring our personal preferences, and in this instance, we're going to be talking about our 3 favorite action games, and we're just going to go around the virtual room here with each of us going through one of the 3 that we picked, explain what we like about them, our favorite memories and whatnot, and until we've gone through all of them. And we'll probably do what we did last time and do the whole age thing, the oldest to the youngest. So Jamie Owls is going to start us off. No.
I'm not the oldest.
Hey. Thank you.
One of the things is for my choices, I'm just going to say right off the bat, I'm going to avoid what I think is going to be a cop out, and I'm not going to give any of my answers as action RPGs because y'all know I love RPGs, and an action RPG is kind of a cop out for me, and there's a long list of them that I would give within that subgenre alone. So let's have the fantastic Stormrosesky provide us with her first favorite action game.
My first favorite action game would be Super Mario Odyssey. I absolutely adored that game and one of the other Mario games after Mario 64 that I've completed up until that point when I first got the Switch. So
Nice.
it's still a favorite, and have some of the remaining little moon stars to go back and get and whatnot, but other video games and things have taken me away from it. But it's still don't mind it.
Nice. I'll ask you've only played through it once.
Right. Only have completed it just one time.
One of the things criticisms I heard with Mario Odyssey is people saying that it's fun to play through once, but it isn't nearly as fun to play through again. For our listeners, I want you to comment in the comment section below if you found that to be the case or if you've heard that. The only reason I say that is I've played through Mario Odyssey twice, and my second time through was just as fun as my first time through. I absolutely agree with you, Storm, that is a wonderful, wonderful game. Very good.
Mm-hmm. I just see, now I'm on the spot. No, I just adored it. So, and it was one of the first games like that where if a level was frustrating, you could quit for a little bit and come back and start at that point that you were at, because some games lose me because I'm not all that great at some of these platform type action games. So if I die at a level like level 3 and I have to start all the way back at level 1, which was already a pain in the booty, then you're going to lose me because I know I'm going to have to go through all of that and level 1 and 2 again. So that was a nice change with Mario Odyssey, that that you could start at that point instead of, having to start all the way back at the beginning.
And then you also don't have to worry about lives in that too. It's one of the first Mario games where they got rid of that.
Yes. Yes. So, yay for those of us who aren't as skilled as some of these.
That's it's really interesting too, because it's not one of the harder of the 3D Mario games, but there are levels that are difficult, and those really, just like any more modern Mario game, at least within the last 15 years, have the harder levels. Once you actually like beat Bowser, then it's like that last third of the real game is, it's tougher. They're tougher levels.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's a great choice. Simbu, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no big deal. I just wanted to say, I think that the statement of that Mario Odyssey is not as fun the second time through is kind of a bit of a blanket statement for a sizable amount of games, especially in the action genre. In games like Skyrim or Borderlands, you have these multiple classes you can play. I mean, Skyrim alone, you can play the same class but multiple ways, like 12 different times. So I think in a game like Mario Odyssey, where you don't really have that, or games where it's kind of more of like a not quite linear, but on a linear feel, where it's like, oh, I get to level 6 and I unlock this ability, or level 10 I unlock this ability, level 12 I unlock this ability. It's all the same thing. It's a fair assessment that it just kind of takes the fun out of it, because there's nothing new. There's no new way to approach something like Skyrim. The first time you play through as a thief or a rogue or an assassin. Then you go and you play as a knight, or a bard or a barbarian or something like that. Same game, but two total different play styles.
Yeah, and a lot of the replayability becomes when it becomes like a comfort food, a blanket game where you play it and it feels good to be able to go back into that world again and replay it over and over again. That's why a lot of people have felt that way with Mario 64. And who's to say that the kids who grew up with Mario Odyssey aren't going to feel that way when they're teenagers or in their 20s, when the whole nostalgia bit for this generation kicks off. So. Let's move on to Jason the 13th. And I'm wondering what he's going to say his first choice is.
Do I go with the obvious one first or non-obvious one first?
My Little Pony?
Yeah, no, not even close to the top of the list there.
But it's on the list.
There is a fun My Little Pony game on the PlayStation that I have played that almost made my list. No lie.
They'll never played it. All right, so let's go with one that I know is on Inferno's list also, but I'm going to do a 50-50 on this, because I'm going to go with Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X, because I know Mega Man 2 is what...
Can't allow it. You no fence sitting.
Do one?
You have to do one. You can't let you sit on that fence.
I think I'll go with X then.
Okay.
Because X had, I don't know, I could replay that one over and over again, and it's probably the first one that I cleared without dying, like, and continuing, like, ever through the entire Mega Man game. So that
Although
would probably...
on the record, when you and I had our competition, you did die on the 6th Robot Master, and I did go through from beginning to the end of the game without dying.
I get that.
Just
I
saying.
get that.
Just saying.
Like I said, but I did clear that game without continuing at all. Okay. It's a
I'm
pain
starting
in
to
the butt,
see less
but...
of Inferno Fox's wall behind him. Is his head getting bigger now?
Oh. But yeah, for my first one, we'll go X. I love the Mega Man games, and the addition with Zero was awesome to the game. So
yeah, and you really got something there with X, because X really leaned a little bit more with the action element, just with the speed and the movement, and
they added the searching through each level for all the hidden items that came with the Mega Man X series.
Yeah, Mega Man 5 and 6 had that a little bit, a very, very, very little bit, but it wasn't to the depths that X had, I feel.
Yeah, you have a heart piece in every level. You have the armor pieces in each level.
Yeah, because it
So,
was the heart container in all of the 8 levels. You had the reserve tanks in 4 of the 8. You got the armor pieces in 4 of the 8.
yep,
So whereas in 5, you had to find the letters that spelled Mega Man V
right, yep,
that were, and then in 6, 4 of the 6 levels had secret exits that get you the letters BEAT to get beat, I think. I think
yep.
that's how that worked. So, but
Sounds like
yeah,
X is going to give it to you.
yeah, X will give it to you. You're gonna
So,
give it to you. X is gonna give it to you. It's gonna give it to you. First, you're gonna rock, then you're gonna roll. I forget the words. I guess I have no soul. I think my first choice. I'm gonna go and follow the Mega Man train here, Jason. You said X. I'm gonna go with 2.
yep.
Because like you, it was close between 2 and X. I was leaning more towards 2 because of the soundtrack being just a
Ooh.
small smidgen,
Oh
itty bitty
yeah.
little bit better than X. And then I have the greater amount of nostalgia goggles for Mega Man 2 than X. But it's like out of like 10, my nostalgia for Mega Man 2 is 10 out of 10, whereas X is like 9.5 out of 10. So um I felt with 2, you had really great controls that make controlling Mega Man feel really great. It was also really colorful, and there were some great looking environments. Huge freaking step up from how Mega Man 1
Oh
looked.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And then like it also had expressive sprites. Like the greatest example of that is the Dr. Wily, the first boss in the Dr. Wily stage, that big dragon.
Oh,
It's a great example, both size and detail. So yeah, it's definitely fantastic. And of course, you can catch Mega Man 2 as part of the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1, available on all major consoles. So, and I forget who's older, if Jamie Owls was or Simbu was.
I am
Okay.
by a couple months.
All right, Jamie Owls, you volunteered as tribute. What is your first action favorite?
I'll probably just go with the obvious that everyone's probably gonna know what I'm gonna say, and that is the reboot of the Tomb Raider game.
So not Elden Ring.
No, and it's not My Little Pony either. I almost picked Spice Girls though. There was a video game for them. But yeah, my first choice is the reboot Tomb Raider. What I like about that one is I know the remastered version were action games, but the reason why I picked the reboot is because not only I like the storyline better, but also I thought it was really cool how they recreated the whole storyline, even how they made Lara Croft look. Yeah, I just think the whole development of it was a lot better, and I really enjoyed the game itself. I had a lot of fun, including the 2 other games with it. So, yeah, Tomb Raider it is.
Yeah, definitely a great choice. Storm, I actually think this Tomb Raider reboot would be right up your alley because it I played it through the first time, I think what, Jamie, I was like a year ago, 2 years ago, and I actually had a lot of fun
Yeah.
with it. It was when I also replayed Uncharted's 1 through 4, and I
Mhm.
actually had a lot more fun with Tomb Raider than the Uncharted games, and all of them are excellent. Like that sort of like movie-esque adventure style game, except
Mhm.
Tomb Raider is a little bit more like you have the controller in your hand, so you can use all the buttons in it, whereas the Uncharted games are more like full of QTEs, quick time events and whatnot. And I'm not as big a fan of that, but just the overall feel of Tomb Raider, definitely uh, excellent.
I am planning on checking those out as I've never played a Tomb Raider game, but
Oh.
hearing Jamie Owls talk about them and some of the Resident Evil stuff, I have a lot to catch up on, and that will
Yeah.
be a summer project. So maybe I'll start doing one of those, and we'll check in on the podcast on how I'm doing as we go through some of the old ones for my first time.
Yeah, definitely. And as we get into a little bit more like quiet pre-discussion topics like games that we're playing right now, that'll be a good
Yes.
discussion because I think I want to have a thing where we at least ask that maybe once a month or something. But having that check-in will be really good for you to hear your impressions and whatnot.
Exactly.
Simbu, if you're ready, are you good to give us your first action game?
And his is E.T.
Yes, absolutely, hands down, ET all the way. I always loved moving 2 screens to my right and falling into a pit that I could not get out of.
Yep.
For the record, Jamie Owls, I was actually going to say the Tomb Raider DLC for the Power Wash Simulator game. There is Tomb Raider DLC. It's Laura's, I think it's the mansion and the equipment, like the obstacle course yard thing that you have to clean. But it's like 2 or 3 things from Tomb Raider that are part of Power Wash Simulator. So I just thought it'd be fun. Because I had a feeling Tomb Raider was going to be your number one.
Yeah.
But all right, now I don't know how many of you know this game. Jason the 13th might. It is part of the American McGee's series, which is only 2 games long. The 3rd game got the boot, unfortunately, and the original American McGee himself got DMC'd on it, so he cannot, or DNC'd, I believe, so he cannot even try and create the game, no matter how much the fans want to try and raise the money for it. But number 1 on my list is going to be Alice.
I thought I pressed something.
Me too, JBLs.
God, I haven't
Number
seen
one-
gameplay of that in forever. But yes.
Oh, I had a feeling something was coming. But number 1 on my list, I gotta hold it a little funny so that the camera picks it up, is
Yeah.
Alice Madness Returns.
Yep, haven't played it, but I know all about it. I remember when you first
I've
picked it
heard
up
of
and
it.
played it.
Kind of stinks
So-
that they're not gonna like port that to more recent consoles, right?
Yeah, it's not gonna get ported. This game, again, this is the developer, EA basically owns the rights to everything. So, and they said, hi ho, you're screwed. It's over. American McGee's is done permanently. And
Ooh.
American McGee, the
Yes.
guy who created it, he went to court, he like tried, look up legal action to try and like purchase the IP and control the IP himself. But EA, too powerful, too much money, too many resources. He
Too
just kind of
evil.
ended up giving up and was like, it's just not worth it.
Mhm.
But he is doing well from last I know. He's doing well with his family. So that's always good. Silver lining for the end of the story. But back to the game. It is Alice in Wonderland reimagined if many years before Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland was a thing. So it's very gothic, it's very dark, it's very horror-esque instead of, weird shiny colors. Everything is very dingy, much like Tim Burton's iteration of Alice in Wonderland, or if you've seen the movie Alice Through the Looking Glass. Very, very dark and more macabre sort of Alice in Wonderland. You've got plenty of different weapons. You've got a teapot that shoots things. You get a shooting teapot. You got her butcher knife. And of course, just it was a fantastic action game overall. Especially if you love horror. So if you can find a way to pick up a copy on 360 or find it in emulation, I definitely highly recommend this game.
Yeah, and now's the time to pick up and look for 360 games, Xbox One games, games that you're going to want to be able to get, because right now they're actually pretty cheap. Jason 13th, Jamie Owls, and myself were at an expo a couple weeks ago and saw the prices of them were really good, but Microsoft's giving the axe to all physical media. It's coming. So it would definitely be a good idea to be able to get on top of that and make sure you pick up what you want.
I might have to add that Alice in Wonderland to my want list.
I think you should.
Mm-hmm.
You should, if anything, just as a collector's item, because I don't think a lot of people have a physical copy of this game. I don't think it sold a lot. Because the original American McGee's Alice was on PC.
Ah.
I wonder if he's ever thought about doing like a spiritual successor.
I think I know I saw something. I think he's thought about doing it, but he's concerned about blurring lines between American McGee's Alice and this spiritual successor, and EA being EA, trying to go, the Pokemon Pal World conundrum that just took place.
And so far, Nintendo hasn't really taken like heavy action against that, which I'm surprised.
That's because there's no action to really take against them.
And it's funny too. And on the screen for our friends on YouTube, I've put up the pricecharting.com information for Alice Madness Returns on the Xbox 360. So just in case you're wondering, and for those listening, loose price disc only is $28.99. The complete in box is $31.64. It's at $31.64 that you're gonna want to find and really get on top of here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and kick us up to the next one, and that would be Storm. Storm, you've got a second choice for action game.
All right, this is my number 2 choice because the last one was number 3. I'm going backwards in a 3, 2, 1. The best one. This next one is Immortals Phoenix Rising. Just the gameplay. I've played it both on the Switch and the PlayStation. I bought it on the Switch, and because I'm PlayStation subscription, blah blah blah, I was able to play it on there. And I just absolutely love the dialogue that they have, the gods have. There's some sarcastic wit that just it cracks you up while you're playing the game. And not to mention, you get to ride around on horses and deers, and that's just right up my alley because a long time ago, during on what was it, Nintendo 64, anytime you would play one of the Zelda games, I would ask dear Inferno Fox if I could run around on the horse or something for a little bit because I just love horses. Anyway, so the gameplay is still good. Some of the puzzles I could complain about. Some of them are just a pain in the butt and are really quite difficult to pass. And, some of them I did not complete because they were such tedious amounts of poopy to do. And they were for nothing but extra powers and things. And if you do enough battles, you could build up your powers and characters, so some of those areas weren't as necessary to get through the games. So it's a fun one, and I definitely recommend, especially if you find it all bundled on sale. On the Switch, when I got it, it was $10 for everything, and it was $100 game for $10. I'll take it. So definitely well worth it on top of that.
Yeah, it's the nice thing with games made by Ubisoft is that they'll release it at full price, but then like they'll cut the price of it like drastically in a short amount of time, and it's kind of a sad thing because Phoenix Rising is from what I've heard, actually is a really decent Breath of the Wild type take on like an open world game. It's actually really good. And it was really sad to hear that they were working on a sequel, but then they ended up canceling it because Ubisoft has to, they've got to be Ubisoft. Like we could have had another game and within a good amount of time frame, probably even before the release of Tears of the Kingdom, because Nintendo took so freaking long with that.
Yep, there were a few DLCs. The bundle that I got included a couple of DLCs that were different worlds that you could explore. I didn't really get into them as much as I did the main game, so Don't know if that would have anything to do with it, but
Yeah, maybe the developer themselves, the actual one, the devs themselves put as much as they could into the DLC, knowing that, okay, it looks like the Ubisoft is going to be canceling the actual publication or a sequel. So let's just throw what we can in this, and then yeah.
Yep.
Ugh. Jason the 13th. How about you? What is your number 2 pick for action games?
All right, this is we where you may not see it coming, but I have mentioned it before in one of our other podcasts. I'm going with BioShock.
Hmm.
The dark gloominess of it, kind of the like a apocalyptic type world, because you're stuck under the sea and the big daddies and everything. The game is just awesome. You get to use a bunch of different magic stuff and makes it almost feel like you got superpowers. And I love one of my favorite ones was where you got a handful of wasps and you just shoot bees at your enemies.
Now I
Uh-oh.
remember that. Is
Uh-huh.
that when we shot him at Nick Cage and he,
Not the bees.
Not the bees. Yep. But yep, no, BioShock, such a fun game. And it just, I don't know, that one stuck with me. I love that game.
Yeah, I've tried to play it about like 3 times now, and I just can't get past the first like couple hours. I don't know what it is,
Huh.
and I like the Metroidvania type style of it. I like because obviously I like Metroid Prime. I got into that, and like you would think I'd like the style of it, but it's like I just can't get into it. I don't know. Very strange. My second of the action games is Ghost of Tsushima. And this game, it might as well be an Akira Kurosawa film with how cinematic it is. It's got an absolutely great story with a couple surprising plot twists. I played it on the PS4 when it first came out, and it's probably the best looking game that I've seen on the PS4, hands down. The environments are beautiful, and yet the devs have set up the environment to encourage the player to like not only explore but it also leads them to like certain landmarks. So like if you see smoke in the distance, you can go there for something. You'll see wind blowing in a certain direction or leaves and petals flowing in the air. You can it sort of leads you to where you need to go, or sometimes even wildlife. Like there's a fox in the distance, so you'll walk and the fox will lead you to like a shrine or something. Excuse me. The soundtrack, I'm a big music guy, but like the soundtrack's more ambient. It has some rolling themes, like cinematic themes that match like certain story elements or even like battle. The battle system in dueling is excellent. I am happy to say it is not like a I don't want to diss our Souls-like fans, but it is not like a Souls-like because Jin Sakai doesn't feel like clunky or anything like that, nor should he, because he doesn't have like crazy amounts of. Well, sometimes he can have armor, but it allows more easier movement and quicker reaction time. And just in general, the battle system allows for fighting to remain fun and challenging, but like not inherently clunky or unfair. You know what I mean? Like it managed to keep the fun factor, but not be like total BS. I liked it so much that I platinumed it. There's a PS4 version, a PS5 version, and it is coming to PC on May 16th with trophy support. So, um, Jamie Owls, what is your
Yes.
second top action game?
So my second one would probably be Uncharted 4. Now, I enjoyed all 4 of the games, but 4 is probably, in my opinion, the best one out of the series. And I think I even heard that before just reading articles that the 4th one is probably the most popular. Um, just like the storyline with itself, like I was never really into like pirates, but just with playing Uncharted 4 really got me into and learning about the history and for this type of quest that Nathan Drake and his brother Sam went on. What I also like about it too, that I think this is the first game out of the series where they actually use people, I forgot what it's called, but they use people for like the movements, where the other three were, I believe, were more like computer generated.
Oh yeah, they use mocap or
Mocap.
motion capture.
Mocap things. Yeah, and I also really enjoyed, usually when I play action games or any kind of game, I always like to go along with the story. So this one to me is probably my second favorite action game. And the talk of Uncharted right now really wants me to get back into the series where my backlog is already large. So
Oh,
what do I want to play? Replay a game or play a new game? I don't know.
Hey, mix it up. Play a new one, do a comfort food one, do a new one, do a comfort food one. That sometimes like I've been really good about just doing new games like the last 4 years, but even I like to throw in a comfort food game every once in a blue moon.
The problem though, I have to work.
We have to work.
We all have to work, and that's the problem. But if I don't work, I don't make money to buy games, so I need to give up something.
I think she just insinuated that you don't work, Inferno.
We have to work?
I'll
We have
allow
to-
it.
We have to find money somehow.
Yep.
Wow.
Ugh. Simbu, how about you? What is your number 2 top action game?
So other than the Jamie Owl's Punch Out that's coming on Inferno Fox right now, I don't think I could top that one.
Oh, hey, no domestic situations. Everything is good.
No, it is a video game reference. It is an old video game like Titan Punch Out. Come on, it's a play on words. My actual number 2 is, I can't find my OG copy, so we're gonna have to go with the Devil May Cry trilogy for the Xbox 360. Of course, my favorite is DMC number 1. Dante, I mean, you're in kind of a hellscape fighting, these weird puppet creatures, puppet demon creature things, all the interesting and unique sort of enemies. It does have that bit of an upgrade system to it, but a lot of fun for a horror hack and slash.
I thought
Action.
you weren't a Resident Evil 4 fan, though.
I am not. However, Resident Evil 4 was built on Resident Evils 1, 2, and 3, built on a genre already. Devil May Cry came out from the beginning and said it was a hack and slash.
One of the little bits of trivia is that the idea and thoughts for Devil May Cry were going to be Resident Evil 4. When they realized the direction that Devil May Cry was becoming, they turned that into its own offshoot and made DMC. And then they had to start from whatever scratch or whatnot to make RE4. So I'm like,
Interesting.
didn't think you were an RE4 fan.
Again, it's one of those things that as a gamer, you become blinded in a series. A series builds itself one way, and then all of a sudden it just kind of goes in like a completely different direction. It's the M. Night Shyamalan, what a twist. And we all can tell that not a lot of people really enjoy the M. Night Shyamalan whole big changes, whole big twist things.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too. Like RE4 was when that series became more action horror versus just horror, whereas the DMC games, Devil May Cry, they've been pretty much the hack and slash. That's what they've
Right.
been. That you know what you're getting into with them.
They're
Correct me if
action
I'm wrong.
horror. Yeah, they're action horror. That's what they are. All of them are that way. There's no, like, oh, DMC1 is action horror, DMC2 is horror survival, DMC3 is action survival, and then DMC4 is looter shooter.
Now,
You know what I mean?
This is where Hardicus would say, all right, Fox, this is where I have a bone to pick with you with Final Fantasy because Final Fantasies 1 through 10 were RPGs, and then now they're this actiony garbage that I don't like. And insert
Yep.
Get
Hardicus
off my
logic
lawn.
here, you know.
Yeah, Final Fantasy's gone to Devil May Cry.
Yeah, what would they say? I think people would say the 15th one was Kingdom Hearts, and this newest one, 16, was like Neo and Neo 2. So
Ha!
take of that what you will. I like them. They were very good Final Fantasy games, but in no way are they turn-based. Absolutely not.
No.
It's not the same as how they used to be. Let's start rounding the final lap here, and Storm, hit us with your final top 3 action game, your number 1 action game.
This is going to be a big surprise to everyone listening. Okay, God of War. There, I'm going with the first God of War, or the not God of War, not the first one. The first, the let me retract. What year did it
Boy.
come out? Yep,
Boy.
Boy.
the first one that I've played.
Boy.
That first classic God of War on the PlayStation 5.
Kind of a
Remind me
reboot.
Yes, yes.
Mhm. Yep.
Because I'm aware of the others that have came before, but no, this one I absolutely love it. I have it digitally. I'm going to make sure that I do get a physical copy of that game as well. And eventually a physical copy of Ragnarok, because I just did the digital with the sale over Black Friday, but maybe
nice.
this coming year I will get the physical copy of both of them, because I absolutely, it's a stunning game. Storytelling, gameplay is just, I enjoy them having the different levels that you can play on. Like here, it's a relaxed playthrough versus, the God playthrough where, the battles are 10 times harder and whatnot. So I've played on the easiest setting because I want to enjoy it my first time around. And even on the easiest setting, some of those battles are just intense. The Valkyries are just horrible butt heads, and
Hmm.
but definitely just everything about that game, even, except boy. Oh, I could kill that kid. That
I
kid.
will
Oh my
say
god.
the first 8 Valkyries are nothing compared to number 9.
Oh god, no. No. She is
I thought a couple
she's
of the
still
first 8
undefeated.
were a pain. Your Valkyrie Queen.
Yeah.
You might as well put in like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, because that's how it feels.
Yeah, she is still undefeated. And I've gotten close and died and had to stop playing because that was almost a controller through the TV moment. Not really, but you understand that level of frustration.
Yes.
So that game has sat because she's evil. So
But you at least beat it though. You don't have to.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've beat the story. Now I have all the little piddly quests to go through, but and I did a majority of those on God of War. Now Ragnarok, I have some of those piddly little side quests to do, and I've just started to touch Valhalla, the DLC. So
Nice. You're gonna really enjoy that from what I've heard. For it being free DLC and everything that it has in it, I've heard Valhalla is excellent.
that's awesome. It's exciting and so nice of them to give that to us for free on top of that. So I'll take it.
Nice. Yeah, no, that was no surprise.
I
That's
know.
definitely a great one to have too, because when you say about the being beautiful, like the fact that it was on the PS4 and it looks so good. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise because PS4, there's obviously, law of limited returns as the consoles sort of progress, but there's a lot of really great detail increase that I noticed from the PS3 to the PS4. I mean, as soon as you get rid of that aughts beige brownish filter from that decade, man, you got something with the 4 Xbox One and whatnot. Games look good.
Yep. Colorful instead of brown.
Jason the
Okay.
13th, you got a #1 slot for us.
I don't know if I did them in order like Storm did, but this is where I strategically picked this one to be the last one because this is where Storm can come over here and kick my butt because I own God of War and have not played that one yet. But God of War still
Oh.
makes my list because I
Woohoo.
fell in love with God of War from the original God of War. The banter between Kratos and the gods, and just it was just it was more hack and slash in the originals, but it was just a fun game.
Yeah,
They
pretty
got
sure
me
those save
addicted to
points had nothing to do with it.
them. No, that just helped you. That's all.
It felt like the original God of Wars felt like a little bit more of a comparing that to what I know, like the Ninja Gaiden series on the Xbox. It felt like a more coherent story. It was more fairer gameplay, more save points,
Yes.
and just like it was the overall like more approachable game. Because I remember when I lived with Mobster and played through Ninja Gaiden, it was painful, but it was like, oh well, we're Ninja Gaiden. We haunted you when you were a kid, so we're gonna haunt you as a young adult. So there you go.
But just being Kratos and just going through and killing like all these gods, just the random gods he comes across and everything, it's just so fun.
Zeus, I'm here.
But yes, I fell in love with the series through the originals. I still need to play the new God of Wars. They are
Do
definitely on
it.
my backlog.
Yeah,
Do it.
I've got the physicals for both
Oh,
too.
I don't have a physical for Ragnarok. I have the physical for the first one though.
Really? Oh yeah, I guess not. I thought you got that for Christmas.
Or maybe I do and I'm forgetting.
'Cause I thought you did, but I don't know. Don't know.
I
Um,
will double check.
yeah. For me, my #1 is gonna be no surprise to anybody. Anybody who's listening will know this is top to a number of my lists.
Final
And
Fantasy.
no. If we were talking
Yeah,
RPGs
I
or
know.
Super Nintendo games or just my favorites, not the best or this or that. No,
Yep.
my #1 is Super Metroid, and it ranks up with the likes of Castlevania Symphony of the Night as one of the best Metroidvania games ever made, and quite possibly one of the best games ever made, period. Super Metroid manages to capture that feeling of isolation that like the original NES version did, while also providing interesting and colorful, varied environments with remarkable flora and fauna. And the minimalist story also helps to accentuate this feeling of being alone, being isolated. You don't know where you are, where you're supposed to go. You've got a map, but it's blank. You kind of have to progress and figure out how to move forward on this hostile planet. The soundtrack, absolutely amazeballs. Some great themes that fit the environments. Samus controls like a dream, and she's never felt better. The only game I could probably say that she controls better would be like Metroid Dread, but she has to control better because Dread is probably the hardest Metroid game in the series. Uh, and of course, Super Metroid currently available on the Nintendo Switch NSO service. So definitely recommend playing that. If you're old like me, you probably have already played it or heard of it. If you're young, play Metroid Dread. Actually, buy Metroid Dread, play Metroid Dread. Super Metroid's free if you got the NSO, but Metroid Dread. Jamie Owls, Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread, Metroid Dread, Metroid Dread. No. What is your third and final top action game?
What's Metroid Dread?
Metroid Dread, Metroid Dread, Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread, Metroid Dread, Metroid Dread, Metroid Dread.
Geez, the hits keep coming.
So my final pick is the first Last of Us game. I first played that 2016, 2017, because I think you bought it for me for my birthday as with the remastered version for the PlayStation. And I wasn't really into the whole zombie type games, but giving it a shot, I ended up really enjoying it because not only was the storyline was good, but I really got attached to the characters, Joel and Ellie, and it made me upset with the second one, which we won't get in, but I really enjoyed it because I thought the chemistry between them were really, heartwarming, and I just overall enjoy not only the action and suspense, but just, seeing them on their journey and to find out towards the end that she was the cure all along, but Joel.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoiler.
Oh.
Spoiler.
I'm sure everyone has played it by then.
By
so,
now, probably.
Yeah. But
I don't
anyway.
know. Storm might not have.
Oh, sorry, Storm.
Yeah, I've never played The Last of Us.
My bad. So I'll just leave it
that's
right
okay.
there.
No, that's okay. I still play. I don't care.
It's just, I liked it. I'll leave
Yeah.
it like that.
And it's one of those things where the game is excellent and the show is probably just as good, if not as quality wise. Very, very good.
I was gonna say.
Are you,
Oh,
sorry, Simbu.
sorry. The only thing I wanted to say was the only difference between the game and the show was, I think, episode 4 with, I think his name's Nick, the gay couple. I think that was an extended thing that they extended from the game. They extended that into a full length episode. Because I do believe that their part in the original game was more fairly short, but it was more through like text. So they took all that text and kind of expanded it into a full episode, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, Nick Offerman, he is awesome. If you're a Parks and Rec fan, you know Nick Offerman. Jamie Alice, if you're looking to replay a game, you should replay The Last of Us, the remake that I have on the PS5.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Simbu, let's go ahead and take us home with your final action pick.
So I could cop out and I could go Dead Space. I could cop out and I could go Doom 3 for the original Xbox. I could cop out and say Deadpool. I could cop out and say God of War.
Or Star Wars.
But no, I technically do not consider Star Wars action games. Unless you're considering like Shadows of the Empire. I think that'd be the closest to an action, but I consider that a shooter. No, my final pick is Lollipop Chainsaw. If you ever wanted to play a zombie game, zombie B or C list, maybe even D list movie that is extremely campy and just cheesy to all get out, Lollipop Chainsaw is the perfect pick. You run around as a cheerleader who is part of a family of zombie hunters, so she wields a ginormous chainsaw. The entire game, she has a lollipop in her mouth. Her boyfriend, she cuts her boyfriend's head off at the beginning of the game to save his life, and he becomes Mimir from the new God of War games. He's just kind of hanging off on her butt the entire time. But it is such a fun game. It's a little clunky. There was a lot of talk about a remake coming down the pipeline or a remaster. Oh, there you go. Ooh. For those of you watching on YouTube, Inferno Fox has pulled up a topic about it. I know
I think
that
Inferno Fox needs a CITI card.
Yeah, there you go.
A 5% cash back.
Yep.
Oh wait, I thought we were sponsored
Not
by Shadow
sponsored.
Legends, or was that Raid Shadow Legends? Factor, come to Factor for your meals.
Yeah. The only, if I remember correctly, the issue with Lollipop Chainsaw's remake or reboot was the soundtrack licensing. I believe they were having issues with the licensing for the soundtrack, if I remember correctly. I can't read that. That's too small for my eyes. But no, it's cheesy, it's corny, it's a B, C, D list movie at its finest, but it's just a fun hack and slash game. It really is fun little hack and slash action.
Nice. That is one of those like fun picks where it's like you know what you're getting into with a game like this, but it's like, hey, it's okay. That's fine, you know. So that has been our top three action games. Make sure you join us for next week's episode when we are going to be discussing Simbu's most favorite series of all time and their respective video games. No, it's not My Little Pony, or is it? Is it My Little Pony, Simbu? Are we doing is that next week's episode or is that 2 weeks?
It's Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig. Where we're going to be discussing Bluey meets Peppa Pig. And so
Louie!
yes. So again, a quick shout out and thanks to our fantastic crew. Make sure you catch us at our various sites and everything like that. We got links in the description below. And of course, final thanks to you, our viewer/listener. Let us know your favorite action games in the comment section below if you are watching on YouTube. And otherwise, thanks again and have a good day.